Hi there, how's it going? So today I'm finally recording my August media recap video. So it's been a bit. I probably should have been recording this last week, but I didn't, and that's on me. But yeah, so today I want to talk. Ow, I hurt myself. So today I want to talk about my August media recap, which is basically all the movies and all the TV and books I've read and watched in the month of August, which honestly, August was a lot. Like, we honestly watched a lot of movies and we basically binged a lot of shows as well. And I read a bunch of books. Let's talk about movies and TV that I watched in the month of August. So in August, I binged a TV show on Netflix called All of Us Are Dead. It's basically about a zombie apocalypse happening in this town where the main character, it's basically happening while all these kids are in their school, and like that's basically ground zero. And basically the whole city becomes filled with zombies. And there's a bunch of main characters and basically a bunch of high schoolers that are trying not to turn into zombies. And yeah, it's a really good show. There's a lot of character development, and you get to see a lot of the way that these kids kind of interact with each other and get to form bonds with each other, even though like they may not have been friends in the past, they may have been enemies. It's just like the whole dynamic, it's really cool. You get to see like literally somehow all the adults also get infected, and then outside the city the military created this safe place for all the non-infected people to be able to go and seek refuge. And it's just crazy, like everything that happens in the show. But it's a really good show, and I'm really looking forward to watching the next season. Okay, other than that, in terms of TV shows, I also watched Love Island season 7, which was a disaster. It was really entertaining, honestly. Like, I've watched Love Island before, the UK version of it at least. It was really chaotic, but I think this season, I mean, everyone was talking about it. It was on everyone's feed, so it was really easy to catch on. At first, I was like, oh, this is gross, because honestly, it just starts out really superficial, as we all know. It's like basically a dating show, like a live dating show where like people have to match up with people based on just how they look and attractiveness. And eventually they get to learn about each other. But honestly, they really just get like 3 weeks, 4, I don't know, but like they don't get a lot of time to like build relationships with each other, which really sucks. But this season was really, really chaotic. And yeah, I really had a great time, because the whole time I was just like, oh my god, why? I already knew this person was terrible, like, and then it's just really crazy how you what was I gonna say? It's really crazy how like on the show the edits make someone seem a certain way, but in reality they probably aren't the same. So yeah, it was like very entertaining as well. I mean, obviously this whole thing is made for entertainment. Anyway, so I think those are the only shows I watched in August. As for movies, there were a lot. There were honestly a lot of movies. In the beginning of the month, we watched this movie called Together, which I mentioned in my vlog. It was a really good movie. It was about these two that end up learning, this couple that ends up learning more about their relationship. And like in the beginning they started out as kind of like not knowing where their relationship was going, even though they had been together for a long time. But at the end of the movie, this whole journey led them to just be closer together, if that makes sense. without spoiling anything. If you've seen it, it's a really good movie. You already know. And then I watched Oculus, which I honestly have been wanting to watch Oculus for a long time. It was a really good movie, obviously. I really enjoyed it. I think when it first came out, I was much younger and I was like not really into horror movies. So I was honestly like scared of what would happen. But honestly, like, watching it now, it's not that scary. It was really cool actually. Like there's this mirror that is haunted and you have these siblings that kind of have to uncover the mystery surrounding this mirror. Like they basically when they were little, like their parents had this mirror in their house and a lot of things happen, like a lot of terrible things happen, and as adults they're trying to uncover the mystery behind the mirror so they can kind of unite their family, I guess. And then I rewatched K-pop Demon Hunters. We all know that the songs, the movie and its songs are just everywhere, and it's really, I don't know if it's cliche to say that it's like really captured our hearts, I guess. I really liked K-pop Demon Hunters, so it was, suffice to say, I had to rewatch it. We went to see Weapons in theaters, which was, it was a really cool movie. So it was made by the same person, Zach Kreger, that made Barbarian. And so knowing what Barbarian was like, it was like very like, I don't know how to explain it. Like it starts out normal, like you think it's gonna be like a certain way, but then there's a twist. And so I would say Weapons was similar in that regard, that there was a twist at the end. But I feel like as you watch the movie, you already know that there's gonna be that similar twist. But yeah, regardless, I would say Weapons was a really good movie. I really liked the different characters' POV that we got. So after that, I had to rewatch this movie called Nobody, which is basically, so it's made by the same creator, the creator of John Wick. So it's in the similar fashion that there's this older guy that has to fight the mafia. So yeah, so Nobody was really awesome. We already know, we've already seen it. So I rewatched it because I wanted to watch Nobody 2. The same day, before I watched Nobody 2, I ended up watching this old 90s movie called Copycat. The movie stars Sigourney Weaver and as the lead, along with a couple other leads that I really like. It's about basically this psychologist and a bunch of cops trying to track down this copycat killer. I really liked how, even though it was like forgotten about, it was like it really held up in today's standards. I really enjoyed the movie and how the main characters interacted with each other. So yeah, so after Copycat, I ended up watching Night Always Comes. It was on Netflix, and I think it's based on a book, which apparently is really good. I would say Night Always Comes is like this portrayal of like, you know, just America in general, like how regular people live, and like how, you know, sometimes our life choices can like impact our future in a certain way. But like, it was like this kind of portrayal of this woman's like, you know, she was so stubborn to like get to what she wanted. And yeah, it was like at the end of the day, the whole journey was for her to be free. And Vanessa Kirby plays the main character in this movie, and she is, I feel like she was the only thing that made the movie work. Like overall, like I feel like I didn't really understand the story until like I watched the whole thing. But throughout the whole thing, I think Vanessa Kirby like really held up with her performance, and I think she was the glue to making the whole movie work. Like I didn't really appreciate the movie as much as I was watching, I was like, this is terrible. But I think in hindsight, it was really good. Like, I still gave it a 3, I think, on my Letterboxd, but it was a really good movie still, I would say. And then I watched Nobody 2 finally in theaters, and I was really looking forward to it just because the first one was really good. But I don't know, like, I feel like, honestly, I feel like they kind of made this movie a little too late. I don't know, like, part of me feels like even though Nobody came out in 2021, it feels like a movie that should have come out in like 2018, 2017, and Nobody 2 should have come out in 2021, 2022. It was like, I don't know, maybe the pandemic and everything kind of like pushed it further. Anyway, so Nobody 2 is like the continuation of that story, and like it just much higher stakes, I would say, and more characters. Like certain villains were really like stood out to me, but overall I would say it was like, it was fine. Like, it was a family movie. It was like, okay, let's just go watch a family action movie together, which doesn't make sense, but it was fine. It was a fun time. That was about it. I ended up finally watching A Woman of the Hour, which came out, I think, in 2021? No, it came out in 2023. So Woman of the Hour, I think, I don't know if it's Anna Kendrick's directorial debut, I'm not sure. But yeah, Woman of the Hour basically adapts the story of this hitchhiker that was attacked by this serial killer, and basically her story allowed the serial killer to be caught. So yeah, it was like, it takes this approach of using a separate main character to bring the story of this guy. Like, it was like really cool in a way where show the true story without making it like a true crime documentary. I also watched In the Tall Grass on Netflix. I don't know why this movie was made. It was just really bad. I think like we both watched it and we were like, this is just, I don't know, it was a nothing burger. It was like, it started out as like, okay, this is gonna be some kind of like horror mystery, like 90s horror, but it was terrible. It was just not great. I don't even know what was happening, and I don't remember, and I don't want to remember. I also watched Hard Eyes. I think that's also on Netflix now. When it came out, I think I was really excited. I was like, this is gonna be a fun horror movie. And it was really exciting. It wasn't awesome, but it was like, yeah, it's a fun horror mystery, like kind of like a slasher movie. It was my birthday, so for my birthday we went to see Honey Don't, which honestly I was really excited about because the cast looked really good. You had Aubrey Plaza, you had what's her name, Margaret Qualley, you had Chris Evans. Like, you already knew that it was gonna be like an exciting movie, and I was really looking forward to it. But if you've already seen the movie, you know it's fine. Like, honestly, like, it's funny, but I feel like overall it kind of doesn't work. Like, it tries to do a lot of different things, but I don't think ultimately the movie works, which I'm sorry. Like, I was really excited, and I feel like I wasted a movie ticket going to see that movie. But on the other hand, the week after, we went to see Caught Stealing, which was really fun. Like, it was a fun like movie, which honestly could have come out like in the 2000s, and it like, honestly, it was based in the 90s, so obviously it would have like that kind of effect where it's like a timeless movie. I think that's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, Caught Stealing was really fun. I eventually would want to make a video on Caught Stealing if I can get my notes together. But yeah, Austin Butler does what he always does best in Caught Stealing. He just like captivates you with his just like, he's just able to be on screen, just be a normal person without stands out somehow. I can't explain it. I don't know like what it is. Like, he's just a really good actor. There's a bunch of other actors in there that like, it makes, I would say the cast is really good, but overall, I think the writing is awesome. There are moments in there that are really funny. So yeah, Caught Stealing was really fun. And then finally, I ended the month with watching The Roses. It's basically a family drama, but like kind of gets more aggressive, I would say, at the end. I think there is an older version of this movie from the 90s or the 80s. I'm not sure. But and then there's actually a book, The War of the Roses. And so that's kind of adapted. This movie is adapted from those. Yeah, and Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman play this couple that are, they seem perfect, but they kind of like eventually fall apart. And so this movie, like, kind of again, is another movie similar to Together, where these two are tested on their relationship and eventually come together or not. So yeah, at the end, it's just like the movie ends on this cliffhanger where we all know, like, the screen goes white, like it just completely empty screen, and we all know kind of what happened. It implies that happened, but overall, I would say it goes from like 0 to 100 really quickly. I really liked it. What are you talking about? I didn't spoil anything. I just said it goes from 0 to 100. Yeah, but I didn't actually say anything.
Okay, if you say so.
I feel like most of the time my months are not like this packed with movies and TV shows, but usually I'll probably go to the theater maybe like 4 times in the month. There's a bunch of movies I actually want to watch, like older horror movies, since that's kind of like, I'm basically on a horror binge recently, so I'm excited to maybe catch some old ones. And in September, I'm about to watch a bunch of cool movies. I think there are a bunch of horror movies in the list. Okay, as for books, in August, I finally got to read Katabasis because it just came out towards the end of the month. And I was really, really excited for this book because I thought maybe finally I'm going to read my first R.F. Kuang book. So I was just really excited. It was a really good book. It's basically these two post-grad students trying to retrieve their professor back from hell because they need him for anything, for like, I guess, recommendations or whatever. Like, they basically, the point is they will do anything for academics, and that's just, the whole book is like the journey of like students will do anything for their grades, for their academic career, and even if it means they'll give up their soul for it. I really liked this book for my first R.F. Kuang book. It was like really dense in a way, I think, but it was still very entertaining. At some points I was trying to like rush through it because I was like, oh my god, this is like really detailed, but at the same time it was really entertaining, kind of seeing how there are certain like actual theoretical information in the book that R.F. Kuang uses to describe certain like magical, I guess, certain like magical elements in the story. And then obviously the main two characters, Peter and Alice, are, I think in an interview I listened to, R.F. Kuang actually mentioned that those two are supposed to be based on her and her husband. Yeah, I really liked Katabasis. I also finally finished reading Ministry of Time, which was, I think, in a way, it was similar to Katabasis, that it's like dark academia, I guess, almost. But I would say Ministry of Time is slightly different because it's like, how do I explain this? I read this a little while back, so it's hard to like, just, I don't have any notes on it. But Ministry of Time was, there's basically a Ministry of Time where basically they use time travel to bring back like people that would have died in the past, and instead of them dying, they're like brought back to present day to kind of like, I guess, you know, incorporate them into current society and maybe learn about their time, I guess. And it's like, I guess it's also like a love story between the time traveled person that they bring back. They're called expats, and between one of them and our main character. And it's, I think there's quite the exploration of like, similar to Katabasis, how Katabasis explores academia, I would say Ministry of Time explores like not corporate necessarily, but more like working for the government and like the kind of bureaucracy that goes on and all of that stuff, like following the rules and stuff and trying to also do what you need to do, I guess. I can't explain it. But yeah, that was a really good, awesome book I read. In August, I read Baby X, which the concept was really interesting. I read it because it was like about like genetic engineering and kind of like our near future where, you know, you don't really need to have babies a certain way. So yeah, Baby X was really interesting. There was like a time travel element in the book and like certain different POVs in the book that kind of tell the story. It was interesting. And then I also read Rules for Ruin, which is, I honestly read that because I wanted to join like a romance book club in my area, but I didn't go. But I ended up reading that book all in one day. It was like, I don't know, it was just like hard to stop reading, I guess. And I would say that book was kind of like enemies to lovers, so that was a fun book. And then I also read One's Company, which was about this woman that like leaves her regular life after a traumatic incident and and she also wins the lottery, so she leaves her traumatic life behind and she's like, you know what, I'm gonna escape my life. And the way she does this is by basically recreating the set of her favorite sitcom from the 70s. That's like her comfort show, and she basically wants to live her whole life in that show. And basically the whole book kind of like explores themes of escapism and like mental health. Yeah. And I also finally read All Systems Red. I watched the show Murderbot in July, and I was really excited because I was like, okay, now I have to go and read all 6 books. So All Systems Red is basically the same story from Murderbot. It's basically this bot that is kind of gains sentience and like wants to escape its life of like servitude, and like that's the story, that's how it starts. And I'm really excited to go watch season 2 when it comes out soon enough. So yeah, in August I basically read a lot, watched a lot. I'm currently reading a bunch of other books. I'll probably put them up here somewhere, and I hope I can make a better more cohesive, more comprehensive recap video for next month. Yeah, till then, I hope I will see you in the next video.